Cancel all the plans you have for 2025 because The Simpsons has already predicted the future. Okay, I know some of you are going to disapprove of this, but I decided to ask ChatGPT which Simpsons predictions will come true in 2025, and I was surprised by the list it gave me, especially by the first prediction. Now, before we unravel this list, let me show you what The Simpsons has already predicted, because I'll be honest, I severely underestimated just how many times they were actually right. In 2002, The Simpsons portrayed an unusual scene with Donald Trump and the King of Saudi Arabia laying hands on a large orb. In 2017, this footage resurfaced when this exact scene came into fruition. If you're already stumped by that, what The Simpsons predicted about Donald Trump is going to leave you speechless. It's no secret that Trump wanted to be the president of the USA, even back in the 1980s, before The Simpsons even existed. So when they predicted that he would achieve this goal, some would argue it's not even that impressive. However, back in 2000, before Trump was even president, The Simpsons animated this iconic sequence with Trump waving to his supporters on an escalator, which, scarily, in 2015 would be repeated to the exact detail. Even more difficult to explain, and just remember this was written back in 2000, is when Homer shrinks and climbs into Trump's hair, and it is here where he sees many things, and one of them being a sign that says Trump 2024. 22 years later, on the 15th of November, as you know, Trump announced that he would be rerunning for president again in 2024. Okay, we might need the Trump surname later for when I show you the ChatGPT's predictions for 2025. But first, allow me to show you the other biggest coincidences between The Simpsons and real life. Have you ever heard of the God particle? Admittedly, I don't really like the title, but in an episode in 1998, Homer came up with the mathematical equation for the God particle on a blackboard. This is 14 years before physicists had even discovered it. Am I the only one who kind of thinks that adds a new layer to the phrase, you couldn't even write this stuff? It's official. Shakespeare was right. The world's a stage. In 1995, The Simpsons showed a London landscape with Big Ben, Tower Bridge, and in the exact future location, the Shard. In case you're confused, the Shard was actually only built in 2012. Then in 1992, the show came up with the idea of a baby translator, which in 2013 was invented in real life. Okay, now watch this clip very carefully, because in 1998, The Simpsons showed their viewers the iconic 20th Century Fox logo. But just notice, at the bottom it says, a division of Walt Disney & Co. So you tell me, how did they know that 21 years later this would really happen and Disney would buy 20th Century Fox? I'm not gonna lie, this next one really messed with my head. All the way back in 1998, in a Simpsons episode called Lisa the Skeptic, Lisa shows her list of names for who she predicts will be the future Nobel Prize winners. And if you look closely, one name mentioned was Bengt Holmström. And then, who should be the 2016 Nobel Prize winner? You guessed it, Bengt Holmström. Speaking of lists, what do you think was on the list of The Simpsons 2025 predictions according to ChatGPT? Well, I can't wait for your opinion on this, but some of you I know still need convincing that this isn't anything more than just one big coincidence. And guys, I'll be honest with you, as you know, like most of the first parts of my videos, I'm only doing this just for entertainment purposes. That being said, the 2010 episode Boy Meets Curl was a very accurate prediction. In it, the US men's curling team wins gold and Sweden wins silver. This would later happen in 2018. And although it is a little bit more difficult to explain, I do believe some of these predictions are actually just copied by the mainstream media to gain more publicity and thus gain more viewers. If you need proof of this, take a look at this 2012 Simpsons scene where we see Lady Gaga at the Super Bowl during her halftime performance. Are you trying to tell me that Lady Gaga wasn't aware of this in 2017 when she was posing in the exact same way, just like how The Simpsons had portrayed her in cartoon form? I also believe that Miley Cyrus copied Homer Simpson's visual wrecking ball sequence, which was aired back in 1994. But again, you tell me, does the 2013 version by Miley actually have zero connection? Because I do fully admit I could be reaching here. But let's face it, this dragon scene from The Simpsons must have given some kind of inspiration for this scene in the Game of Thrones. And I am confident that this fashion parade in 2021 was a collaboration with The Simpsons. But again, I do find it a little curious that Anne Wintour, who was spotted here with the most famous woman in the world at the time, I find it interesting if she was also in on the plan. Okay, are you ready for it? Here is the list of The Simpsons predictions that ChatGPT predicts will happen in 2025. By the way, I hope it goes without saying that I am not claiming that any of these things will come to pass. Even ChatGPT itself said that this is just merely speculative. So, without further ado,